Hi guys, hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of Celebrating the Ordinary.
Best thing since like Asda sliced bread, because that is what I actually do like, which
Oh
is
my
not the best bread in
days.
the world at all. Um, but no, but it is quite fun. Like actually, I hope
Hmm.
people have enjoyed like the last two episodes, especially with the last episode when we
Yeah,
had Trey on,
yeah, yeah.
um, when we had a
We should,
guest.
we should say this. We should take this opportunity to thank all our listeners. The
Yeah,
feedback we've been getting have been amazing, absolutely amazing. When I read some of the feedback, I'm like, oh wow, so many people are listening. So many people are taking on board what we're saying, and so many people are enjoying our own take on life and our society. So thank you very much. Tell your friends to come on board and listen some more. Spread the gospel according to Celebrating the Ordinary.
yeah. Put it on your WhatsApp updates. Send it on your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Sorry, X. Oh, what, Snapchat.
Hmm.
Pinterest, Insta. I can't even think of any
Yeah.
more, to be honest. But no,
Go
it
on
is.
to
It
go on
is.
to YouTube, go on to Spotify,
I
or
mean,
where you get Apple Play, wherever you get your podcasts from, and you'll get
put
it.
it on
You'll get it.
Tinder, man. Put it on Tinder. Put it on your like profile. Do you know what I mean?
Really,
Like you're just
really,
so gonna
really,
get like so many
really.
dates if you ask
Tinder, really.
Tinder, okay, Cupid, any social platform, you go for it. Well, you know what? Actually, we have got a really exciting day today. And
Yeah,
before we
yeah,
introduce, like, because obviously you can see the name, the skin in the game pretty much kind of gives you an
yeah,
idea
yeah.
of what we're going to be talking about.
Mm,
And,
mm,
you
mm.
know, it's interesting because just before we go into that, I've been watching, and I know you've been catching up on it because, I've strongly recommended This Is Us. And there's a real, so
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know This Is Us, it's like a mammoth, amazing series of a family and the trials and tribulations that they go through together and as individuals and as families and stuff. And there's a particular storyline. So I don't want to give too much of a spoiler away, but the storyline is that you've got a young couple who end up with triplets, but one of the triplets dies in hospital, and basically they adopt. There's another baby that was born round about the same time. So they're a white family. This other baby's part of a black family. For various reasons that you find out later on in the show, in that moment you realize that he's been left, and they decide to adopt him as the
Yeah,
third
he
triplet.
was abandoned. He was abandoned in a fire station.
Mm, that's it. And they decide to adopt him, and it's about navigating that life, like how the
Yeah,
family, the white
yeah.
family, navigate life in terms of
Mm.
integrating that child as a triplet, yet he's a completely different race, he has a completely different background. It's pretty
Listen,
epic.
it for me, it's the epitome of that being selfless. For me,
Yeah.
that is the epitome of just being selfless. Yes, they've lost a child in during labor, and rather than just concentrate on dealing with that grief,
Mm,
or what a lot of other humans would do, concentrate on the two children they have. They
mm,
decide to open their heart, their family, their life to another child.
yeah.
A child, not like you said, a child not
Mm,
just another child, but another child from a different race
yeah.
with different cultural expectations and DNA and everything, without even knowing where the child is from. I mean, that is selflessness.
Absolutely selflessness. But what's really interesting is how they navigate in that parenting. Because
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
love in and of itself is a great motivator, but it
Mm,
wasn't
mm,
enough
mm.
in the end. Like they needed the community to kind of like support his
Yeah,
upbringing,
yeah,
they
yeah,
needed to
yeah.
learn lots of things that actually wouldn't have even occurred to them,
I
you
think
know?
for me, it's watching that is watching the growth and the
Mm,
discovery and the realization of, wow, this is different.
yeah,
This is different. It's a different cultural experience, both physically, both psychologically. The fact that his hair is different,
yeah,
his skin is different, the fact that the child was being bullied in school, and then
yeah,
one of what's his name? Is it Randall? His
Yeah, it
name,
was
Randall.
Randall's the name of the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Randall. Yeah, being bullied in school, and his the decision of even the hammering home of the mom to Randall's brother. You might fight Randall at home, but when you're outside, he is your brother. You
yeah,
need to have his back. And
yeah,
even the brother deciding, okay, yes, he might look different to me, but he's my brother.
yeah. Yeah, and actually talking to you mentioned hair there. So this is a spoiler alert for you, Chuks, because I know you haven't got to that point.
I've,
But then,
okay,
but
okay.
there's a
It,
particular
it is
scene.
it is part of what you said you like to do in episode 0, where you like to put spoiler alerts when you don't like somebody and you're annoyed with them, take them
I
to a
feel like
movie
I feel
and
like
you
there
tell them
aren't
the end
any.
of the
It's not a
movie.
mystery. It's just a journey that you follow. So I have a feeling that it's not going to spoil anything for you. So sadly, no. I would love to have done that. Spoil it for you so bad. You're like, what?
Mm,
But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But there's a particular scene where they're all in a swimming pool, so it's like a day trip or something like that. They're all around
yeah.
swimming pool, and in this
Mm.
particular swimming pool, you've got like the black community just literally on one side, and the white community literally on the other side. And
Oh
there's no
wow.
integration, there's no like mixing or anything. And
Mm,
Randall has already been like thinking about. I mean, he's quite young, but he's thinking about kids that look like him, the school that he goes to. He
mm,
doesn't have
mm.
friends that look like him. And here he is attracted to the black group because they look like him. So he's playing with
Yeah.
some other black kids.
Mm.
And he goes over. And so the mother decides that actually, like Rebecca, she's like, oh, he shouldn't be not that she's trying to keep him away, but it was more that,
Mm. Mm.
she didn't want him disturbing them or anything like that. So she went over to check if he was okay. I mean, it could be a number of things, like what motivated her to go over, but she did.
Yeah.
And one of the women in the black group of people was talking about Randall's hair. Now, clearly, black hair needs a very specific like
Yeah.
process in terms of
Yeah.
treatment.
It's a different
And
texture.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
the white mom, doesn't know that. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to go to. So they've actually managed his hair as they would like any of the other kids. And she started to kind of like talk about it. And the white mother, Rebecca, shut it down,
Oh
and that was
yeah.
it. And then she
Yeah.
took a kid back. But then she started to really think, hang on a second, this is something that Randall does need. And is
Mm,
she actually
mm, mm,
screwing him over by not
mm.
integrating or at least trying to kind of find out? So then she goes back and actually says, you know what, I do need help with his hair. Is that
With his
something that you can
hair.
help me with? And she, I think she gives him like gives her a number or something to call or somewhere to go. But basically, she's had to lean into the community to be able to help Randall. And there is something about the fact that, it does take a community to kind of like raise a child. It isn't just
Yeah.
down on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
individual. But, whilst we can focus on the community, it's the journey that the white family go through, which I found really fascinating,
I can imagine. I mean,
navigating the
yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be quite tough as an experience because yes, your both her kids have white hair
Yeah.
with the texture that she's used to and she understands and she can manage. But then she has this child who has a different texture hair, and we know that black hair, it does not lie down, it stands straight up. It does not obey instructions. Listen, white hair, you think of bad hair day. Come on, get white, get black hair. You know what bad hair day is if you're not used to it. It stands at attention, it goes different ways and directions, it does what it wants to do. And so as a mom looking after such a child, I can imagine the difficult. Oh, I can no, I'm actually looking forward to watching and seeing how that particular episode goes. I am looking forward to watching that episode. As you can tell, I'm new to this sauce game, but
Oh,
I'll get there.
honestly, it's such a good, like, it's really it's fascinating seeing how that kind of like unravels and how
Mm,
they kind of come together and how they support him, because his life experience and world experience is
mm,
still
mm.
so different, despite the fact that actually they're raising him the same
Yeah,
way as they're
yeah,
raising the other two. But actually,
Yeah.
this is where the equality thing comes into question. It's not about raising people or doing things or, supporting people in exactly the same way. It's equitable. You have to do it that's right for them.
Equitable.
And,
It is
and that is
equitable. Yeah.
the key thing.
So if you like what you're listening to, follow us on all social media platforms.
And if you're enjoying the show, catch us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And you know what, Chuks? That brings us nicely to our amazing guest, Laura, who is probably the more real life London-based Rebecca, if you like, from This Is Us. So hello, Laura. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Chuks. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Celebrating the Ordinary. You're now part of the family. We're celebrating the Ordinary family. We are really excited to have you. We're really deeply excited to have you. Thank you for coming on board today.
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Okay, so just a brief. So Laura, you're here to talk about, let me leave this to Runa. Runa, set it up.
And well, do you know what? Let's start with context then, because we know you, Laura, and we know you're a fabulous person, but our listeners don't know you. So who are you, Laura?
Tell us a bit
about yourself.
That's a big question.
Just throw you in the deep end, crack on, love.
Who are you? I am so random that walked off the street onto the set of Celebrating the Ordinary.
Who am I? Well, I am a mum of 2 wonderful children. I've got Holly, who's 8, and Jamie, who's 4. And I'm married to my partner, Peter. And we live in Northamptonshire, in a nice little town. Got a little dog called Paddy. And I work in the charity sector. And I've been living in the UK for, when did we come back? We came back 10 years ago. Before that, I was living in Sierra Leone in West Africa for 6 years, which is where I met my husband.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. And how did that love story start? What you meet? Where were you? Who looked at who?
Chuks has gone straight for that because he's a sucker for romance rom-coms.
Who said said hello? I said hi.
We had a talk, man. You go down fantasy road.
So, do you know what? It's a nice story, actually. I moved to Sierra Leone when I was 22, I think it was, and I was doing some voluntary work there. And where I was staying in the community, there was this really lovely lady that lived opposite. Her name's F.A. And she's so sweet and lovely. She's probably like 60 at the time and so chatty. And bearing in mind, I was speaking English and she was speaking Creole, the local language. You can imagine how our conversation was going. But it got to the point where I would leave my house in the morning about 15-20 minutes early because it would take me that long to do the morning pleasantries and the chat before I would go up and get my transport to go to work, right? So I was planning in time to chat with her.
I would say this, Laura, that is a typical African thing. We say hello to every single person in the world. Those you know and those you don't know. And all your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, none of them are related to you.
Yeah, you have to build the time in, right? You have to do it properly.
Exactly.
So this lady's a phenomenal woman. Looks after so many children. Many were her own grandkids, but also other children that actually had nowhere else to live or were living on the streets, and she would take them in because she's such a kind heart. So I would spend lots of time with FA and the kids in her compound. And, in the evenings, I would sit down there and the kids would be like braiding my hair and teaching me to speak Creole. And I'd sit and eat dinner with them all. And it was really amazing. And then after I got really used to them and I was spending a lot of time there, after about 6 months or so, it sounds like FA had a son and I just never met him because he was always at work. He was a taxi driver and worked really long hours. And so after about 6 months, she introduced me to Peter, who happened to be her son. And then within 3 or 4 months, we started going out and had a few dates and, went out together. And we just really hit it off. So it was really lovely because I actually met I think all of his family that were based in Sierra Leone before I actually met him.
Oh, I met him. Oh my
Yeah.
You met the
God.
mother-in-law first.
Yeah, no, it's really weird. And actually, you know, when we told her that, you know, we'd started seeing, we kept it a secret for a while, and then when we told her, and she was like, "You," to Peter, she was like, "You make sure you treat her well and you look after her because she's, you know, she's one of us," and it was so sweet. But yeah,
There's
so
something
that's how
about
we
the
met, really. And
mother-in-law.
then,
That's amazing.
yeah, and then I was supposed to leave actually not too long after that, but I mean, I had fallen completely in love with the country at that point anyway. I mean, Sierra Leone, big shout out if anybody wants to travel. It's the most incredible place. So I'd fallen in love with the country, but then also having met Peter, just decided to stay. And you know, 1 year turned into 2, into 3, into 4, and then
Oh,
I
wow.
think after 5 years we got engaged, and then we got married there on the beach with all of his family, and my family came out to join. Yeah, before we moved back. So yeah, I think it's quite a nice story.
That's a
Definitely lived up to your expectations.
Bollywood story, Nollywood story, maybe even.
Listen, I can imagine. I'm just picturing who would Scarlett Johansson or.
I mean, this is Chuks' love dream. This is Chuks' love dream, isn't it? Really, like you literally live.
I know what
he
I'm doing
dreams
wrong.
about.
I need to go to Sierra Leone.
You do. You need to go. Everyone needs to go to
Hang
Sierra
around
Leone.
the beach. Hang around somebody's beach and find my one and true only.
Well, you need to find their faith
wow.
first, or the mother-in-law, from your perspective. That's how it works.
Oh my, that is an amazing story, Laura. And how long have you guys been married?
We just had our 12th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good. We went back for our 10th wedding anniversary and had a big party on the beach where we got married, which was nice. So we're saving now for the 20-year anniversary. We'll go back to the same beach.
Exactly.
Like, it should be a yearly annual thing. Like every year you just go back to that beach.
It would be lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Now you mentioned earlier they had kids. How many do you have? How many children now?
2. We have
my days.
2. Peter also has children in Sierra Leone. So I have stepchildren who are, I say children, they're 24 this year. So they're no longer children. But we spent a lot of time with them when we were in Sierra Leone. Yeah, and they've just been to visit us here, which was amazing as well. And then here we have, like I said, we've got 2 here, Holly and Jamie, 8 and 4. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
That's literally like half and half, like 8-year-old, 4-year-old. Do they have like fisticuff fights, or are they like really gelled?
Yes. You know what? They're either best friends or they completely hate each other. It's you know, I'm trying to figure out whether I'm a referee one day or if I'm a cheerleader. I can't quite figure it out, but they're good kids. They're really good kids.
That's a proper blended family.
Huh?
Which was the cheeky one?
Yeah, which one's the cheeky one?
Oh, they can both be pretty cheeky, but I'd say Jamie because he's the littlest and can still get away with that cheekiness a bit. So yeah. But yeah.
Oh my days, that sounds like a really true blended family.
Yeah.
But then that must be so again, skin in game. That is actually juxtaposing your own cultural heritage as against Peter. You said Peter's cultural heritage.
Yeah.
I mean, for listeners who might not know this, Laura is the white woman, brown hair, not blue eyes, but
I mean, we are going to be using your photo will be on the thing when people click on it.
Just to say.
Highlighting our marketing works, Chuks.
I know, but just to say, and so that cultural differences, how has that been so far?
Oh gosh, it's really interesting. I'd say because I lived in Sierra Leone for so long and I spoke the language and I was quite well was living in the community and had lots of local friends. So culturally, I think I have a good understanding of Sierra Leone culture. So when we were living there, it felt quite okay actually. I think it was maybe tricky when we moved back to the UK because I mean Peter had visited a number of times, but when we came here to move back, that was quite a shock. I think, for both of us, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's very different coming here for, a 10-day holiday, staying with family, as it is to when you move and, start to do things like opening bank accounts and renting places to live here and stuff. And I think,
Yeah.
it was quite difficult. And culturally, just going back to what you were saying earlier, Runa, around the This Is Us program, and that kind of takes a community. And in Sierra Leone there was a huge community there to support us the whole time. And then when we came here, it's everyone's, obviously I've got family and they're amazing, but it is very different. The culture here is very looks out for himself kind of thing. So yeah, it was quite a learning curve for both of us, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody put it the other day. I was watching, I was reading something that somebody put in succinctly. In Africa, in India, or in such countries, you have a community around you. You have mothers, you have fathers, you have grandparents, you have brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, all of them coming together to raise the child. And then you move to the Western world, America, UK, wherever, and all that community is gone. And then what you find yourself doing is working your socks off to get a grandparent to come and look after your child, i.e. nanny, or a brother or a sister to help you teach your child, i.e. a teacher. So those linkages you had for free, you're now paying for them because of modernity. So yeah, that must have been a huge culture shock.
Is it the modernity, I can't really pronounce it, but you know what I mean, like modern life, or is it that actually the two cultures are very different? Because the cultures where you do have like the village raising type thing is a collectivist culture, so they all kind of, their identity is about the group. Whereas the Western cultures tend to be individualistic, which is the identity is to do with specific people. And
also sorry, I was just going to say the size of the families are so different. Peter's family is huge, absolutely huge. I mean, he's got more family in the UK than I do. All I can tell you, Runa, is when I said let's have a small wedding, we ended up with about 500 people there. About 5 of those were my family.
Actually, I don't know why I'm shocked, because in our weddings, 500 is pretty standard.
So
listen, Africa, Nigerian weddings, 500 is small.
Yeah, that's what Peter said, and I was like, I was thinking,
this is a conservative one.
5 of them.
But it was amazing. I wouldn't change it, but it is just very different. It was a big change for us moving back. Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to know, because you lived in Sierra Leone and then obviously you moved to the UK. And as a couple, what was it like in terms of being accepted as a couple? Was there a difference?
I mean, accepted. I mean, I think it took some of my friends a while. I think there's that sort of feeling of, oh, she's gone away for 6 years and come back and brought a husband with her. So, I think it took a minute to catch up or two. My family were incredible. They've always been really supportive. So I think accepted, yes, but there was certainly more challenges to navigate than I had ever anticipated. I think, like I said, more around the logistical side of things, and also just being looked at a lot together, a bit like a double take. And in London actually it wasn't as bad, but when we moved, we gradually moved out of London. So we moved to Northampton first. So it became a bit more frequent there, and then the more we moved away into kind of more predominantly white areas, you can definitely see that it's more of a thing. And
what do you mean by double takes, if you don't mind?
Just look at you and then look at you again. Is it like, oh, who's that? And are they together? And you can see that people are looking, they're interested. It's different.
There's a mixed couple.
Yeah, it's out of the norm. It's out of the norm for them, isn't it? It's interesting you actually say that, because my sister is in a mixed marriage. So she's married, we're Bengali, as you know, and she's married to a black guy. Well, I say mixed race guy, to be fair. And whenever they go into Asian areas for food and stuff, there's always the triple, quadruple takes, to the point that actually they don't even feel comfortable going there anymore. So I can completely understand that.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, is it one of those where people double take and you feel like, oh, you know, like how sometimes people are like, whoa, wow, and you feel good because they've double take, or is it one of those like,
It's more of the second, I think. I mean, I just get a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I've tried to just blur it out now. A lot more used to it. It did used to really wind me up, to be honest. Yeah, it was a real thing.
And did Peter notice this, or was
Yeah, he did. I mean, he noticed a lot more than I did, because I was noticing the things when we were together.
yeah,
And he was noticing it, you know, the double takes and the looks when we were together, but also he was experiencing racism or just
yeah,
different behavior, even just on his own.
yeah,
So yeah, he definitely did. He was very aware of it. He still is.
And how did that make you feel as his partner, as his wife? Then how did that make you feel?
Really helpless, actually. In fact, actually, you know what, it made me feel a number of things. Helpless because you want to stop and you want to do something, but secondly, kind of embarrassed that I went to Sierra Leone, I was so welcomed and so warmly, you know, included, and then I felt like, you know, we move here and then it's kind of, he's treated so differently, and in the majority of times not in a very nice way. So yeah, angry, ashamed, frustrated, quite helpless. Yeah, it's been a challenge. It's definitely been a
It's
challenge.
really sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder though if a part of that is because Peter moved to the country like later, so he knew a culture where he was accepted, celebrated, he wasn't othered in that way. And so of course coming here and seeing like how differently, like literally it's like a full 180 turn on how he's being treated. And I suppose just pitting that against people who have been born and bred in this country, like for example I have, and it's just an everyday thing. Like it's so ingrained. I actually do not know how to feel like not othered. I don't know a different experience per se, unless I get pockets in where you might go into groups that are just protected for like the global majority or BIPOC people, if you like, so black and people of color. But and that always feels surprising that things just feel really easy. But my default is to, I don't know anything else other than feeling like I am different, I am othered, I don't completely belong per se, society wise. And I, you know, and that's why I wonder, like, I'm not saying that like my experiences are diminished in any way or anything like that, or that Peter's is heightened, or, you know, it's not giving or take, but I imagine that Peter felt the full wrath of that difference quite quickly, as opposed to living in it and not knowing anything different.
Yeah, I think so. But as you were talking then, it was just what was jumping out at me is something that he and I were talking about recently, which is just, you know, he's moved here, so he grew up in an environment where he belonged, where, you know, he felt like he was, you know, and I grew up here in the UK where I felt I belonged, and you know, recently we've been talking about our children, how they grow up and their experiences, and even though they my children and Peter may experience racism, actually their experiences are very different. In the sense, sorry, my dog barking. From the sense that Peter grew up feeling like he belonged. My kids are growing up feeling that they are different, and neither Peter and I can relate to growing up, because both of us did have that when we were growing up. So I was just thinking about there, Runa, when you were saying like just kind of the nuance behind it.
That must make it really tough as a mother. I mean, I know as a parent that like I would go to hell and back for like my kid, and to navigate that. But some of the experiences he will have, I will completely like kind of get. And you know, and apologies if I speak out to here, but you know, like I imagine as a white person, you know, there are, like we talk about privileges and things, and when we say privileges, we don't mean that you're like lucky or anything like that. It just might be that the things that you might not think about, a person of color or a global majority would have to think about it 2-3 times over. But you've literally given birth to people who are going to have to think about it, and I'm just curious to know what navigating that plane looks like.
Gosh, it's a journey. Do you know what? It's a real journey. It's taken a long time, and it's something that I don't think I'll ever I don't think you ever stop learning. I don't think you ever stop.
Yeah.
And as any parent, like you said, really, you do anything for your kids, right? So that's where it comes from, is that kind of just wanting them to have the best, and wanting them to be okay, wanting them to be happy, and recognizing slowly, because, you know, I am white. I grew up in a very white area. I am part of systems that are designed a lot for white people. So it's been on a journey for me to recognize that, and then you know, really start to educate myself and think, well, what are the challenges they're going to face, and how am I going to be able to support them and advocate them with people together, you know, to make sure that we can support them. But it you know, like I said, I'm certainly not there yet, and it's something that, as a parent, I won't stop until, you know, well, I just won't stop, actually. I'll probably just won't. Until I just think I will, you know. You'll do everything you can for your kids, no matter what their age. You know, my mum fights for me now, and so
a parent's always a parent. A mother's always a mother. What are some of these, if you don't mind, if you don't mind, can give you some practical examples of when you've seen these issues crop up, especially with the kids?
Yeah, Holly's always been very aware of her differences, and she, even from age 3 or 4, would be talking about, you know, oh, my skin is, why is it different to yours or to daddy's? And, you know, she's always talked about her African heritage. We've always like tried to encourage her to talk about it and to celebrate it, and, you know, we talk to her in Creole a bit, and try and ensure that she celebrates that side. But what we notice in other contexts is that sometimes that side isn't celebrated, and it's almost not acknowledged. And I find that such a shame. Like in school, they'll be talking about, they did a session around Ghana or somewhere else, or West Africa, and I was like, why didn't you ask? We could have, because, you know, they did this stereotypical, this is Africa, you know, we'll sit around and eat rice up with our hands and wear these clothes, and, you know, actually that's it just gives such a stereotypical view of a place. But with both the kids, to be honest, I've had times where language has been used with them that I felt very uncomfortable with. Now, with my daughter, a lot of it is in relation to her hair. She's got really gorgeous curly hair. It took me a long time to learn how to manage it, I won't lie. But that has been such a key feature non-stop. Everybody not just saying, oh, your hair's beautiful, which is fine, people can comment on her hair, but people touch it all the time. Go on, grab her hair, and I'm like, how would you like it if I just come and grab your hair? And, you know, so that's something that she's kind of,
this is a child. This is a child.
Yeah. And I've had words used to describe Jamie, like at the age of 3, somebody in a kind of classroom setting said that he used language like, oh, he's disruptive. And I was like, he's 3 years old, he's not disruptive, he's just energetic, you know, like don't like those kind of labels being put on children at age. But there's also been more blatant kind of, I'd say, racist language used, particularly at school, which has been really difficult for Holly. So there's been a number of times I've kind of been trying to work with the school to make sure that's been properly addressed and picked up.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of curiosity from her side as well. I mean, sometimes she'll say things and I'm like, gosh, I wonder where that's come from, because a while ago, in fact, I think when she was in year 1, she said to me, Mummy, do you feel sad? I said, what do you mean? No, why would I feel sad? She said, oh, because you're the only person in the house who's got white skin. So I said, oh. She says, yeah, because Daddy's got black skin and me and Jamie have got the same dark skin. And you're the only person in the house who's got white skin. Does that make you feel sad? And I thought, well, no, it doesn't. I said, because we're all the family, and I know we all love each other and we all look after each other. And I just got me thinking, I was like, she just at that point moved into a class where she was the only non-white child in the room.
In the class.
I just thought, gosh, is that how she's feeling? Is she feeling sad? You know, this might be me reading too much into it, but you sort of think, well, that's come from somewhere. And she thought that through, and I'm like, so I asked the question back. I said, well, you know, how do you feel at school? And she sort of said, oh no, it's fine. But you know, I just thought, well, I wonder if it's going through mind and trying to understand how she's processing it.
Kids are so perceptive though, like they're so curious that they are thinking about these things, and these things kind of go round and round. And you're right, actually. I mean, just based on what you're saying, I'm curious, like, and you may not know the answer, and this is not something that you do have to answer per se, but like, she must have felt something for her to go down that road of thinking, like,
exactly,
you know,
Yeah.
because kids that age just want to be the same. They want to wear the same trainers, they want to wear the same clothes, they like the same, you know, show. So
Same
differences
music
really,
and all of that, stand out. And then of
Yeah.
course you do get those kids in the same classroom setting who, due to their own upbringing and what they've learned from home, they either make comments or they make the person actually feel different.
Yeah.
That means, sounds like as a mom, you have found yourself having to be in a, I wouldn't say constant, but a continuous state of readiness for battle.
Do you know what? It's a continued state of, it is readiness for battle, but it's also, and I think this is part, you know, like I said, I've been on a journey around this. I think I've always been aware of direct overt racism, you know, the name calling and the really blatant stuff. You know, yes, you're in a readiness for battle in that sense, but actually I feel more like I spend more of my time trying to observe, understand, navigate, or advocate through systems which are set up, which I know are going to negatively impact them, my children. So it's not always about the big stuff. I mean, yes, the big stuff is there, the name calling is there, and I have been trying to work through that, but it's also, you know, making sure that, you know, for example, Jamie, certainly as he gets older, if he wants to walk down the road wearing a hoodie, isn't going to be assumed as he's going to be a troublemaker, because that's what our society is stereotyping young black children, or young mixed black children. And for Holly, you know, making sure that she's not assumed to be like treated as if she's a lot older than she is, because that's often what happens with mixed race
adultification of black kids, and the stereotyping of boys, and stop and search and all of that juxtaposition.
So it's not always the readiness for battle. I think it is that, but it's also being aware, being mindful, watching out for that, and making sure that those things that might disadvantage Holly and Jamie, I can try and support them to navigate that, support to change, support to advocate, whatever that looks like in that situation.
And go ahead, sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to ask, and with as a mom, when you're out and about with them, what are your experiences?
There's a huge range, to be honest, of a lot of you know, a lot of positives, a lot of, you know, on how great and lovely your children are. To somebody asking, are they eating your children? I've had that before.
Really?
Yeah, I've had little things, you know, where let me say, okay, so they both do swimming lessons. My daughter's got really big afro hair, like I said, so they have this policy: children have to wear swimming hats. They give out these swimming hats. All the kids have to have the same swimming hats, right? Okay, all fine. Very small example. She cannot fit these swimming hats on her head because her hair is so big.
Right? So the texture different.
Do you have any other swimming hats? Because they do them now, bigger swimming hats.
Yeah.
Do you have any that would suit afro hair? No. Okay, so what's the workaround here? Either you let me bring one in that's going to be big enough but it won't match yours, which she's going to feel different, or can you get some that, oh no, we can't do it. So yeah, it's just that, like I said, sometimes it's just the little things, but again, it's those little things that add up with her then feeling different, or feeling like she has, you know, special treatment. So that's what I mean by just trying to navigate the little things for them. And sometimes they're bigger than that. Example.
Sounds so frustrating though. Like, I can only imagine what your frustration might be at things like that, because they are kind of like microaggressions, not being able to provide, like having this particular rule that's really rigid, that doesn't accommodate or is inclusive in any way. And then
Mm.
when you provide a solution, it's kind of like rebuffed, you know, and at every point that young child is being othered. But there's also something that came up for me when you were talking about it, is the fear factor. You know, we all have fear, like when our kids go out into the world, you know, that's, I think, something that is quite like a maternal or a parental thing. But I also sense that there is an extra level of fear just because of who they
Mm.
are.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what I struggle with sometimes is recognizing that, like I said earlier, actually, they are going to experience difficulties, challenges that I've never experienced and never will, and that my husband didn't experience when he was growing up. So it's not like we can say we understand, or yes, we know this is difficult, or, you know, like, we can support them, we can prepare them, we can advocate for them, but actually we can't relate. And that's
Yeah.
a really big thing. I remember when we had a really difficult time at school with a racist incident, and she was really upset, and the deputy head teacher, called me up, and we'd had a conversation about it. And so I went to pick her up from school, and just her and I got her dad to take her brother, and just her and I went down into town, and we just went and got hot chocolate in the cafe, and I just said, oh, tell me about, you know, let's talk through it, kind of thing. And she talked through it, and she told me why she was upset and what happened, and I was kind of empathizing with her. And then she just said, did this ever happen to you when you were at school? You know, just kind of hit me that moment. I was just like, well, no, actually, not in this way. No, it didn't, you know. And, you know, obviously you can relate and say, well, you know, I had difficult times and I had kids being mean to me, but it's not the same.
No, it's not. No,
and
it's
having
not.
to try and explain that, and it felt quite sad. And I think it's challenging for her, but it's also something that I feel quite guilty about, is sort of like, and there's nothing I can do about that. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's feeling like it's something that she's going to feel quite isolated with, and you know, my hope is then that she is also going to have peers around her who she will be able to have those conversations with and will be able to relate to, because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's heartbreaking.
It is hard. That is heartbreaking, because again, you're like, all you want to do as a parent is to, like we've said this earlier, we want to shield our children.
Yeah.
We want to shield the child from these experiences. Or when your children come to you for support, or to tell you what's going on in their lives, you can almost be able to say, yes, this has happened to me. I know how you feel. You know how it is. I used to go for parties before. I've been around friends and da 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 da. But in certain scenarios, like what you just identified, there's absolutely there's no commonality there. It's totally different from your experiences when you were her age.
Yeah.
I think my question then is, do you then find yourself flipping, whereby you become overly protective? And then that also juxtapositions the societal experience of the white person coming in to save the day, or being, using this term, the Karen.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I feel I have to catch myself sometimes. I'm like, is this a thing, or is this me now seeing something that isn't there? And I'm constantly second guessing myself. And I'm like, is that okay? Was that normal? Is that what? Yeah. So I feel like I'm always conscious of that. I think, like, because it's something I care about, obviously, because I care about my kids. And I've done such a lot of reading around it, that now I have to second guess myself and make sure that I am actually seeing something that is real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose you could say that.
And to be honest with you, I think some of us will say that if you have to question the experience and to think, is this okay? Is this right? Am I seeing things? Am I not thinking? 90% of the time,
you are
right.
Yeah.
You are right.
Yeah.
There is something going on there.
Yeah.
There's behavior, there's experience, as you are justified in that way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there, actually.
And that's the thing, like, actually, like, just thinking about that you might have, like, you know, when we our emotions and our feelings push us to kind of like I want to do something about it, and then actually, is that what they want? I mean, the reason why I say this is because a lot of like global majority and people of color will tell you that having to navigate this space around race is just really exhausting. It's really fatiguing, and sometimes it gets to a point, and I'll honestly say for me, it definitely has got to that point. It's about picking your battles. Like some just like, you know, I haven't
I'll
even
be
got the
bothered.
energy to deal with that.
I can't be bothered to fight this fight right now. We
Yeah.
do that every blessed day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, if you hear someone saying things like, oh, go back home, or, you know, get the boat back or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, mate. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, you just like
Yeah.
overthink it,
Yeah.
and
Wow,
you know.
you speak English so well. Where do you learn it? Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh.
Google Translate. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, you know, have any situations ever come up where perhaps their fatigue got in the way of actually doing something that, you know, you might not have that fatigue, and you want
Yeah.
to do something about it or challenge something, and they were
Yeah.
like, no.
Absolutely. Do you know what? There was a recent one actually with my husband's work where he was treated quite badly by somebody, and it was, you know, no doubt about it, it was definitely racist behavior. It wasn't just towards him, it was to him and another black colleague of his. And you know, we got some advice about it, and we were ready to put in a complaint. And you know what he just said to me? He was just like, I can't, I just what's the point? He was like, there's no going back now, like what's done is done. And he was just like, I have no energy, because they can't rectify it, they can't take it back, change it, there's nothing they can do to make it better for me now. And I was like, yeah, but you know, we've got to fight the system, we don't, you know, pull people up on it, nothing will change. And I could just see it, he was just so defeated, and was just like, no. And you know, we never did complain, and I don't know if the other colleague might have done, but we didn't. And it was really hard for me to kind of step back and be like, actually, yeah, we're just going to have to let that go.
I can imagine. You're here. I'm ready to go to battle.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go to battle with for you, on your behalf, with you by my side. And the person in the center of it is saying to you, listen, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I've had it so many times. I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
That must have been frustrating. Wow.
Yeah. But at the same time, I kind of have to listen and respect that, and it's not my place to push it, even though I would love to. I mean, still have the letter, I'd be ready to go still, but it's
just there waiting in the background.
It's not my right, I suppose, to like to push, but I certainly support when I can. And yeah, that can be quite difficult, because sometimes there'll be things I'll be like, well, I want to pick up on that, and it's just like, let it go. Yeah, it's difficult.
Do you have so friends now, or extended family or people around you? Do you have anyone who is looking to, or in your situation, you know, just getting into a relationship with someone of a different cultural background? Let's call it a spade, someone who's black. Have any of them come to you and say, Laura, now I understand. Now I get it. How did you?
Not really. And I would love, in a way, I would love to have a peer who's navigating some of the same challenges as I am, but I don't really have anyone in the same situation as I am, that I can think of. But I do have a number of friends who I lived with in Sierra Leone, who actually, one of my good friends in Sierra Leone married Peter's best friend, and we're still in touch, but not enough to be able to support each other through this kind of thing. I say it can be a little bit of a lonely journey sometimes, if I'm honest, because I mean, my family is brilliant, and a lot of my friends definitely try to understand, but I think even with the best will in the world, it's quite hard to see all the things that you see when you're looking out for it, if that makes sense.
It's almost because you've also now been given the lens to be able to like look at like actually what happens in terms of like those the privileges and stuff that a lot of people might take for granted. Like black and people of color can't take as much, and I suppose there's something about it's also you in that space. Like I hear you when you say isolating, because I was thinking, do I know of like groups and things where people, so white people who are in these like mixed race relationships, who have kids that are people of color, global majority, do they talk and have that support? Because there's something about talking to someone who just gets it, they understand what you're saying, whereas having to explain something, I feel like that's where the fatigue has definitely come in. And I imagine fatigue now exists for you too, having to explain certain experiences that you haven't directly lived.
That's it. And so, you know, while I am a bit fatigued, I recognise my fatigue isn't probably nowhere near as, you know, at the same level as someone who's experiencing racism on a daily basis. But I do think
but it doesn't take away from your experience as well, though.
It doesn't take away from it, no. But I think there is that kind of, I feel like a few of probably some of my friends and some of the people I work with, and I'm a governor at the school, I think I'm a little bit like that person, you know, like that one who's going off about that again, you know, like, I think I am that person, you know. Sometimes I think people are a bit like eyes roll, ready to roll, you know, like here she is.
If I may ask, let me flip it again. Let me just flip it. I like flipping things again. Let's look at it from the other perspective. What is your experience like with his side of life, his family, his friends, his community in Sierra Leone, even the Black community, his friends in the UK? What is your experience like with them?
Honestly, I'm so lucky. His family are amazing. I'm incredibly close to them. I really am. I stay with my my nieces, Peter's sister's kids, are regularly in London, and he's got a huge family, and I get on, and a huge friendship group as well, and I get on with them so well, and I'm very accepted. Like, they treat me with so much love and respect. And
you'd be like a queen in Africa. You'd be like a queen in Africa.
People like that I speak the language, I won't lie. They do like that. They're like, what did you say? But I'm very lucky. He's got such a lovely family. Yeah, we get on really well.
That is good. That is good.
Much easier to navigate, I won't lie. I mean, there's still some cultural things that can be tricky, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, it's all fine.
But this is the allyship thing, isn't it? That, like, you know, we talk about like allies in this space, and allies can kind of choose to what level they're allying up, if you like. You don't really, I mean, everyone has a choice, but actually, do you have a choice? Like, you are now a full-on you're literally at the definition of allyship now, right?
I think if you have a family, you know, if you have a mixed family, I think if you really want to do the best for them, you have to. You have no choice, and you have to just try to understand and try and. It's weird. You try and learn and unlearn at the same time, if that makes sense. You're learning about history. You're learning about the kind of structures that we're living in at the minute and how difficult that can make it for people of colour. But then you're also unlearning your own complicity in those systems and unlearning how you fit into that and the assumptions that you might make as a white person. So I think you choose to have a mixed family and you choose to have children that are of mixed race, or, you know, I feel like if you want to do that well, this is just the path you go down.
I feel like there needs to be like some sort of support network for white parents with kids that are Black or like part of the global majority mix, really. Like, there really needs to be something.
I wonder if there's anything on, you know, the good old Instagram. There might be, you know, this kind of thing somewhere or the other. I mean, like a network of people who are in mixed relationships, who have children of mixed heritage, who are all experiencing, but also experiencing something in isolated situations, for the opportunity to just come and have a place to vent and unwind and just let it all out.
Yeah. Well, if you find one, let me know.
Yeah, no. I mean, do you know why? I mean, I have to say, like, from hearing from what you're saying, like, it's quite fortunate because your families have, like, they've taken it really well, and they really are supportive, and they really accept that you as a couple. But I also know of like relationships where they're not
Yeah.
accepted from like one or either parties, like families, and so to navigate that space. But then on top of that, you've got that rejection
Yeah.
piece as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge thing, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
And we talk about global majority like it's like one experience, but it's not. There are so
No,
many different
no, it's not.
communities, so many
Yeah.
different
It's not.
people, so many
Yeah.
different like values, and
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what it's about. And even when I'm talking about my kids, recognizing that they're mixed race, but they are just kids. Yes, they happen to be mixed race, but they are
Just
just kids.
children.
And they just want the same treatment and opportunities as everyone else. That's the
Yeah.
thing. We're talking about is people, really. But yeah, I completely agree.
Earlier
they
on,
won't really see
you did
the
a bit of.
sorry. No, I was
No, go
saying
ahead,
that
go ahead.
the kids won't really see the difference until the difference is pointed out to them. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Otherwise for them it is literally, I've got a 4-year-old nephew. For him it is going from like Paw Patrol to Peppa Pig or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, and and until it's highlighted to them that they're different, I don't think they actually see it per se.
I have a niece who's mixed as well. Her mom is Italian, Australian, and and of course my brother's Nigerian, black Nigerian, and she, even though they live in Australia, she was in the UK recently for Christmas, and I could basically see the level of, first of all, surprise, but then her comfort level just went down. She was like, this is, you could almost see that this is where she could see other people who look like her, who look like her, have the same skin tone, have the same hair texture, than what she's used to over there. So I can definitely imagine. So you said earlier you had to do a bit of research. Does that mean you had to go out of your, do a lot, I can imagine, to learn about the differences?
Yeah. Well, about the differences, I suppose things. Do you know what? Actually, a turning point for me was reading Rennie Edo Lodge, Why I No Longer Talk to White People About Race. I don't know if you've read that book. But that was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Switched. I don't know. It just.
Yeah.
It was a light bulb moment. Yeah. I think after reading that book, I was just like, wow, I found it so powerful.
Yeah.
And then from there, I looked up other books that I've read that have just been really helpful. Some specifically around friends and children, some just more broadly about race and, white supremacy. And I think for me, I found that really helpful. Just doing the reading myself.
If you were in a position to talk to other white people who were considering going into a mixed relationship, or even in a relationship, but at the earlier stages of it, what would you say? What nuggets of wisdom would you pass to them?
I'd probably say, there's so much more. Just one thing, probably the reading, educate yourself, understand. But I think for me, something that was really important, not even more so, but just was really important, was around making sure that there was, dolls that are mixed race. There was programs that aren't just white girls on the telly. There's, they're surrounded by diversity, and it's not just white is the norm.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's interesting because you say, like, what would I say to other parents of mixed race children? I think that's an important question, and I think like reading around it, trying to understand, making sure that you're able to support and do it for your kids. Actually, I think the bigger point for me is, what would you say to white parents of white children?
Exactly.
To be honest with you, I'll be honest, this kind of thing, doing a podcast is outside of my comfort zone. Like, I won't lie. But I feel like it's so important to do, because the message, if there was one message I'd want to give throughout this, it's that everybody has to do the work, not just parents of children of colour. It's parents of white children that need to understand. We often do have an understanding. Those of us are working, living with and loving mixed families already, but white parents with white children, it's so easy, and I can say this because I am white and I have been there before, is that it's so easy to live in a bubble where you're so oblivious. Oblivious.
Yeah.
You want to know that, because sometimes my white friends will question me like, are you sure that was intended like that? And I don't think they meant it like that. And that was so unintentional. Like, it doesn't matter. The harm was caused. It does add up. It makes a difference.
Exactly.
So if there's one thing, it's for white parents to talk to their white children about about race, about racism, about how we can try and stop the years and years, decades of discrimination that's happening unconsciously or consciously.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it brings back the allyship thing, doesn't it? That actually will take like a white person who starts to see their privilege, etc. And because the truth is, let's be like, the global majority of people of color, they already know this. They know what it feels like. Do you know what I mean? It's like but for the people who live with the privilege. And I want to be really clear, this isn't just about like white people and black people per se, because even like within global majority, people have different levels of privilege, like amongst the different groups. So it's worth
male,
really
it's
highlighting
female, it's able, it's people with disabilities.
Exactly. So even us sitting here, we still have a certain level of like privilege too. And I guess it's actually challenging or being willing to be uncomfortable and challenging the privilege that actually you're benefiting from. That is where the real work is. That's what and I suspect like white parents they quickly put into positions, especially like when they have kids, they're put into positions where they have to think from that perspective no matter what. Like their eyes it's like the red pill, in the Matrix, you've got the blue pill and the red pill. The red pill opens up. So here's go on Chuks. I can see your mouth move. Go for it.
Oh my day! Just listen, Laura. It just shows the amount of excitement that we are in. Have you here and actually opening up and talking to us so deeply and so honestly about your experience. I can imagine that a lot of people will listen and will learn and will take on board as everything. And yet there are other people whose lives will be touched. So that's Again, if I was going to go with that same question I asked you earlier on, if I was asking the question about your kids, if you could say one thing to your daughter and your son, they're not here, they're not listening. But if they hear this in the next year, 2 years, whenever, what is the one thing that you would like them to know? What you like to say to them? Not just about the world, but about you, about family, about everything.
One thing I always say to my kids is you do you. And I really mean that, like, just in the sense of just be who you want to be, do what you want to do, don't let anybody get in your way, don't let things get in your way. And just to know that me and their dad we've got their backs. We'll do everything we can because we love them hugely. So yeah, I suppose that's what I'd say.
That's a really beautiful message, to be honest.
Like
you do you. You do you.
Be yourself. Don't let anybody or any system or any other trope diminish your light. Shine.
That's really powerful, because behind that is that don't always believe what you're told about yourself. And I think that's a gift. That's a real gift, isn't it, really? I just want to say thank you so much, like just echoing Chuks, like just to kind of go through this and talk about your experiences. I can imagine it wasn't easy to kind of like pick on particular points and the hardships and the challenges and the vulnerabilities that kind of like come up from talking about this. So yeah, I hope if anyone out there who is struggling, or who parents a child or children that are black or people of color, but the majority, if you like. And you want to talk about something, please do get in touch, like through comments and things like that when this is out, because we'd love to get to know and hear, and we will always come back to like the podcast and talk about what other people are talking about. I think there is a real need for like support specifically to navigate
this conversation to be had.
Yeah.
You handle that like a boss, Laura. You handle
yeah. I mean, you are a boss.
You are a boss, so you handle that like a boss. So celebrating it was celebrating you. Give yourself a pat on the back for being an amazing mom, an amazing person, and so just please give you're a boss and you handle that well. Thank you very much. I would like to meet your husband right now.
He was here literally 5 minutes ago. Literally just 5 minutes too late. He's gone to collect the kids.
Shout him. Oh, has he left the house?
Yeah, he's gone to collect the kids now, yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Next time.
My days.
Well, actually, don't forget, we do have like a gift as a thank you.
Yes.
I'll get that sent to you, but the viewers, you probably can't see this, and I'm just unwrapping it because you're very prepared. And
drum roll, please.
I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's amazing!
Raise it up.
Is that too close?
Higher.
Oh my god, that's amazing! Thank you so much. I love it. I've got the dog in there as well.
And the dog is in there.
Face comes in view with it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
It is really cool. It's more cool in real life than it is what we're showing you through our screen.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
We will get that to you as a huge thank you and token of appreciation for actually like just opening up. Honestly, it's and we will be posting this on everywhere that we possibly can, just to kind of spread the word. If you do want to get in touch, let us know what your experiences are. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. It's been another amazing episode. Another round of applause for our guest, Laura.
I'm trying to clap quite slowly because the noise might be a bit weird.
Thank you for inviting me on.
And again, thank you to my co-host Runa, and thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to everybody who's made this possible for us to be here today. We're really excited and we're really happy for all the love and the support that you've shown. Hope that you continue to do that.
You said.
Yeah. Join us. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Where else, Runa? Where else?
Well, all of those things, Insta, TikTok, but also if you work in an organization where you want to talk about workplace well-being, mental health, and equality, diversity, and inclusion.
Equality, diversity, reach out to me, Chuks, reach out to Runa Uding on LinkedIn, and we're more than happy to have a conversation. Okay?
And do more,
of course, for starters.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's a wrap then, and I hope everyone takes care of themselves, and until the next time, there you go.
Bye, guys. Bye, people. See ya.
Bye, people. Take care.